Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today we are going to be doing a PK Adventure or Brave Token deck profile. This is going to be a really cool one because for some reason Phantom Knights and like the whole Scythe package did not get hit on the most recent ban list. Also, we got a little bit of new support, just one card from the most recent core set, the Battle of Chaos. So we will be getting to that once we get to the extra deck for those of you guys who maybe some of you guys already know what the card is, but this is a really cool deck. It can play first or second, lets you spam through boards that are already established, or you can make really solid boards yourself, whether it's with Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer, and Scythe, or with some other cool stuff. And then, of course, we are playing the Brave engine here as well. So anyways, let's get on into this profile. And then also, this will be the next segment over on the Patreon for the How to Destroy the Meta. So for those of you guys who are thinking of joining over on the Patreon at the start of this new month, now that we are in March, feel free to go ahead and check out the Patreon, and there will be a segment on how to play around Phantom Knight and the Brave engine and stuff. So anyways, let's get on into this. So 3 copies of Torn Scales. This is extremely standard. This is a pretty run-in-the-mill deck. It just kind of goes along with like your slight variations, whatever you want to play, what text and stuff you do. And I am very happy with how this turned out, but this card is super nice because you can discard 1 card from your hand in order to send 1 Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard. Also in this deck with the Brave engine, with the Equip spell, it is basically a free discard once per turn, which is really crazy because, basically on your first turn once in your hand. But basically it just allows Torn Scales or some of your other cards to get really free discards, which is amazing. So then we're going to go on into 3 copies of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Boots is just really nice because it is a extender, and then also it can get you into another of your Phantom Knights trap cards, which is really cool. Then we have our 2 copies of the Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. Cloak is just nice because it also just helps you to get another Phantom Knights card from your deck to your hand. It is cool just because you're mainly just gonna be getting a monster with this card, but it is still nice because you can find those extenders. You can generally banish this from the graveyard to add your boots, and then you're going off again from there. We have our 1 copy of the Ragged Gloves, probably one of my favorite cards in the deck to just play, especially just as a one of, and then 1 copy of Stained Greaves. Stained Greaves is amazing when it goes off because it all deals with stuff in your hand. So if this card is or if another Phantom Knights monster is special summoned from to your field, then you can special summon this card from your hand. And then it also does some other stuff where you can banish this from your graveyard to special summon a Phantom Knights from your hand. So if you don't have like the Silent Boots in your hand for the extender, then you can sometimes special summon Ancient Cloaks, which is really cool. So just nice little extenders. I'm going to be saying the word extender a lot here. Going on into our adventure package now, we have 3 copies of the Water Enchantress of the Temple. She is just super duper good for this deck because she's also an extender. So with this card, if you control your adventure token on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then also, as you guys basically should probably all know by now, you can banish this card from your hand or your graveyard in order to get your Rite of Eremesir from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and then you can activate it and then get your whole adventure token engine going. The 1 copy of the Wandering Griffin Rider just for our Omni Negate, which is super good for this deck because this deck does have a lot of trouble, just like Heroes playing through like Nibiru and stuff, because this deck just does not set up Omni Negates on its own with the PK engine. So now we can actually get into the Wandering Griffin Rider to make sure that all of our combos go through. Then we have our DPE engine right here going on with the Dasher and the Celestial. The 1 copy of Scythe because we're just playing all kinds of bricks and broken cards in here. But really drawing the Scythe is not a total brick. As long as you have other really good cards, as long as you're not drawing into too many other bricks, when you draw the Scythe, that just means you don't need to go into Dagda. So that's totally fine whenever you see the Scythe. And then just our 1 extender for the deck that is like not really related to anything else is just 1 copy of Kagamushin. I really like him because when you normal summon a level 3 monster, you can special summon him from your hand. You're generally going to be special summoning something like Torn Scales or Ancient Cloak or something to the field. So generally you're going to be getting that Kagamucha Knight off. He's also a dark, so it really helps with your Cherubini, which I like. Then we're getting on into some of the Psychics. We're playing 1 Psychic Tracker, 1 Psychic Wielder, and then the 1 Ghost Ogre. I think this is pretty standard. For some reason, I'm seeing people not playing the Ghost Ogre, and I don't understand why. Like, it's not a disadvantage if you're going to have a hand trap in your deck or something. So I don't really know why people aren't playing it. I think you should play it. This is a 41 card build. It's a little bit unconventional, especially for me, but I did add in the one Kagamucha Knight just as that extra extender. I just think it's really, really nice. So that's why this deck is at 41. It leaves you a little bit of room to get around some of the bricks because, again, you don't want to be drawing Scythe or like your DPE package stuff all that often. Then getting on into the spells, we're playing 3 copies of the Rite of Aramasir. So with the Rite of Aramasir, this card is what gets you your adventure token. Special summon that to the field, and then you get your next card, your Fateful Adventure, onto the field. Then with your Fateful Adventure, you're able to add your Wandering Griffin Rider, which we saw a little bit earlier, which is really crazy. So this card just lets you add this card, gets you your token, then lets you add this card. This card adds that guy, and then you add your equip spell, the Dracoback, the Rideable Dragon, one of the funniest and laziest names that I've ever heard in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, but I love it, the Rideable Dragon. And then with this card, as I mentioned before, with Torn Scales, you can, once per turn when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target your adventure token on the field and then equip this card. So you basically just discard this off of your Torn Scales and then just re-equip it, which is just insane. Our 2 copies of Fusion Destiny, again for that DPE engine. Getting on into some of the more generic stuff, we have our 3 copies of Forbidden Droplet. This card is super duper free in this deck because you always want your PKs to be in the graveyard so you can get some extra effects off. So you can, there's a lot of times where you're just sort of wondering, how can I get these cards into the graveyard to gain more advantage? And Droplet does really help facilitate that, and you can turn off your opponent's big threats. Then getting on into our 3 copies of E-Telly. This card is super nice at 3, just to be able to get those extra extenders. And if you don't see the E-Tellys, but you do see like the Psychic Wielder or the Tracker or Tracer in your hand, you're able to just special summon them whenever you have a level 3 on the field. So they are not a detriment to the deck at all. 1 copy of Rhoda. This is just super nice because it helps you to search out any of your PK engine. And then 1 copy of Foolish Burial. The equivalent of this that I've actually really figured out with this deck, this is like the equivalent of people playing like Pot of Prosperity in Dogmatica Invoked Shadal decks. Whatever like half or third of your engine that you're not seeing is what you can like generally turn on. And with Foolish Burial, you can actually just send the Water Enchantress. If you're not seeing any of your Brave engine stuff, you just send the Water Enchantress, banish this from your graveyard, and then you get your Rite of Aramasir to your hand anyways. It is absolutely insane. Also, just so you guys know, the Water Enchantress is also a level 3, so it can be sent by Cherubini, which is, again, just insane. This deck just, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle, and it all just fits together so perfectly. We have then our 3 copies of Fogblade, pretty standard. 1 copy of Phantom Knight's Wing, and then the 1 copy of the Shade Brigadine, just for our extra extender there once again. So that is it for the 41 card main deck. Let's get on into the extra. So for the extra, we are playing all of the abusive cards. We have the 1 Dagda, the 1 Phoenix Enforcer, and the 1 Verte Anaconda to go alongside with it. These cards are now just ubiquitous together. It is insane. It's super, super toxic, but hopefully the next ban list is going to address this. But as of now, if you want to play PK Brave token, this is just the time to play it because it is never going to be this good ever again. I tell you that now. 1 copy of the Cherubini. Cherubini is just super good in here. Like I said, you can send any level 3 from your deck to the graveyard. You just have to have 2 level 3 monsters, so that is why we're playing like the Kagamucha Knight and some stuff, just to have extra extenders. We have the 1 copy of Rusty Bardiche. Bardiche, this card is going to be banned again. I really want it to be. It is just so good, but in the worst ways, because with this card, when it's summoned, you're able to pitch a Phantom Knight's monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then you get to set 1 Phantom Knight's spell or trap from your deck to your field, which is crazy. And then also it has the effect that when an XZ monster is summoned to one of the zones that it points to, then you're able to target 1 card on the field and blow it up, which sometimes lets you blow up your own Scythe. It lets you blow up some of your opponent's cards. It just has so much versatility. The one like redeemable fact of this card is that it cannot be used as link material, so thank God for that. Otherwise, this would be an access code talker making machine. 1 copy of Link Spider for our Shade Brigadine. I really didn't want to put this in here, but in testing, I just found out too many times that I was needing this. So there's a lot of times where you're actually going to end with like you have Dagda on board, and then you activate like your rideable dragon or something in order to get your scythe to get to the field. Sometimes you'll actually even activate your Shade Brigadine, so you'll get the Brigadine on field, activate it, then you'll get your scythe to the field. You'll have your Shade Brigadine on field. Then you need to go into your Link Spider. That way you have an effect monster so that you can go into the Verte Anaconda. It just comes up way too many times to not play the Link Spider, so that's why we are playing it, just so you can get to an effect monster. We then have our 1 copy of Dark, the Dark Charmer Gloomy. He is the new card that I was mentioning that just came out in Battle of Chaos. He is so good. The reason why he's super great right now is because of this first card that we were talking about before, the DPE. So basically, if your opponent has a DPE in their graveyard, then you are actually able to use Dark in order to special summon the DPE back to your side of the field, which is really incredible. Then you can just like disrupt your opponent from being able to like get the DPE back during their next end phase or during the next standby phase, which is really crazy, or just any other Dark that you're going to come by. This is definitely the best of the Charmers, the Charmer links that they have been releasing, and it's no wonder why they made this like the last one, just because we've been waiting for it for so long. 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn just for some extra versatility. 1 copy of Appaloosa. It was when I was adding in these 2 cards was when I actually took out the IP Masquerena. The thing is that you're just not going to be going on IP Masquerena a lot, which makes Appaloosa a little bit worse, but the benefit of having the Dark in here over having the IP Masquerena is actually pretty exponential, so that's why I went with just this lineup. You know, I'm not playing the Masquerena, but if you want, you guys can tweak some things around and put in Masquerena in here if you want. 1 copy of Access Code Talker, just so in case we're trying to link up into some big stuff. We have our 2 copies of Breaksword. This card is just insane. Helps you to get 2 guys back to your field after he's pops himself, or after Rusty Bardiche pops him, or after your opponent pops him. Then we have our 1 copy of Levier the Sea Dragon. This card is really insane. I can see why a lot of people would be skeptical on playing this. If you guys are new to the deck, the reason why this card is so good is because when you use this card, you detach a material to target a banished level 4 or lower monster and add it to, or special summon it back to your side of the field. So the reason why this card is so good is that if you basically use like these 2 guys to XZ summon the Leviar, and then you're trying to get like your, or actually no, this would be probably banish your Silent Boots, then you can actually get Silent Boots back to your field, and now it's no longer going to be banished. You can then, on your next turn, it just helps to set up for your next turn to be able to banish this again to get another of your trap cards, which is just super useful. And then also just overlaying in case like Torn Scales is going to be banished by his own effect. It just helps so much. It's just super good. You got to be playing at least 1 copy of Levier. I've been seeing some people playing 2 copies. Then 1 Downward Magician, and then 1 copy of Double A Zeus to round off this 15 card extra deck. Again, it was really tough to get this to 15 cards. There's just a lot of versatility that you want to play. You're really not going to be going into the Appaloosa very often. So if you guys want to swap out Appaloosa for that IP Masquerena, and then you basically just have IP for like your Nightmare Unicorn play and stuff, totally go ahead and do that if you want. But again, I just didn't really find the need for it. The Downward Magician is super duper great in here because there are moments where you can actually just use your Fog Blade to bring back your other XZ, the Breaksword. Bring back Breaksword. Now he's got no materials, but then if you just attack into one of your opponent's monsters or their life points, if you're sort of at a simplified game state, then you just overlay Downward Magician and then overlay into Zeus, main phase 2. And then that allows you to have a 2 material Zeus, or if you never use the Breaksword's materials from the start, if he still has the 2, then you still go into Downward, and now you have a 4 material Zeus. It is just super good. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this deck profile. I hope you guys now understand how this deck is run. Again, there is going to be a episode of how to destroy the meta against this deck. If you guys want to check out the Patreon, that is going to be available right there at the lowest $2 tier, along with a whole bunch of other rewards on there. If you guys have any other suggestions, I'm looking for new perks that I can add onto the Patreon as well. So if you guys have any things, any ideas, any perks that you guys would like added, whether it's merchandise or anything, extra videos, video types, let me know down in the comments below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and we'll catch you guys for the next deck profile. Peace.